Ta-ta! How you doing, friends? Today is a special day because I'm starting a new series. Yeah! And this series is called the Art Dictionary for kids. In each video of this new series, I'm gonna be explaining a different art term, and I'm gonna be drawing the first letter of that term. And today's term, our first art term is Renaissance. Yeah! So why don't you grab one of your light-colored markers? I like to use my Yabba Dabba Yellow for sketching, and start sketching the letter R. I want to use a curvy style for my letter R, so I'm gonna put little curves here and there, but you can write in any style, so you can even create your own font style, own writing style. You don't have to do exactly as I'm doing, but if you want, you can just follow the video and try to draw what I'm drawing. After that, I'm gonna start decorating my letter. So I'm not just gonna leave it a straight letter, but I'm gonna put little flowers and leaves and little pretty things all around it. Renaissance comes from the term Rinascita, which means rebirth. So that's why I'm decorating my letter R with little flowers and leaves and pretty things, because I want to show elements of nature growing on my letter R. So my art at the end will feel like springtime, which is the time of the year when nature is born again and again. Thus the term Renaissance, which means rebirth. If you're done drawing your awesome letter R, just go ahead and start sketching little flowers, leaves, and maybe grass here and there, and maybe little pretty bugs and butterflies. I don't know, anything that reminds you springtime. You can decorate your letter R with that. Renaissance was a period in European art history, and it made the transition from Middle Ages to the modern times. It took place between 15th and 16th centuries. But some historians say, wait a minute, Renaissance was longer than that. So they say there was a long Renaissance period between the 14th century and the 17th century. We're just gonna let them argue about that for a while, and we're gonna move on with our lesson. At the core of Renaissance idea was humanism. So with the beginning of Renaissance, people in Europe started thinking more human-centric. This started to affect everything from sciences to arts, from literature to politics. Some of the early and most important developments in Renaissance were the innovation of perspective and oil painting. Even concrete was a product of Renaissance. People learned how to make concrete during the Renaissance. So all those buildings you see all around today have their roots in Renaissance. After the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Empire, the Greek scholars rushed to Europe, and their Renaissance began in the 14th century in Florence, Italy. Now, since we're almost done with the sketch of our letter R, it's time to draw it. And as usual, I'm gonna use my thick black marker to go over the yellow lines. But there's one thing that we need to pay attention here, kids, so we don't make any mistakes. And that is, first, I'm gonna draw the decorations. I'm gonna draw the flowers and leaves and all those little decorations on the letter first. And then I'm gonna draw the outlines of my letter, because I want the decorations look in front of my letter, as if they're growing on it. I think now it's time to talk about some Renaissance masterpieces. One of the most famous Renaissance art is the Statue of David by Michelangelo. It was done at the beginning of 1500s. One other piece is the painting of the School of Athens, and it was painted by Raphael. We cannot talk about Renaissance without talking about Leonardo da Vinci. He was one of the most prominent figures in Renaissance. He was a painter, he was a scientist, he was everything. Thus, he was called a Renaissance man. Leonardo da Vinci painted maybe the most famous painting in the world, Mona Lisa. And since then, people are trying to understand what Mona Lisa's smile means. You may ask, what's your favorite Renaissance painter, Jeff? And I tell you, Jan van Eyck. Jan van Eyck's paintings were so realistic it blows my mind. And since we started talking about realism, perspective was a really important feature in Renaissance. With the development of realistic perspective, a wave of realism was introduced into the arts. After Christopher Columbus reached the American continent in 1492, people saw it as the beginning of the modern age. And all that started a trend of questioning previously held truths and search for new answers, aka curiosity. And curiosity resulted in a period of major scientific advancements. Thanks to Renaissance, even the practice of accounting in business started in Renaissance. At the end of 15th century, Luca Pacioli published the first work on bookkeeping. So, he's considered to be the founder of modern accounting. Until the Renaissance, most of the paintings were about religion, and they were commissioned by the church. In Europe at least. I mean, we're talking about a Renaissance. I don't know about the rest of the world. But with the start of the Renaissance, artists started to paint other subjects too, like everyday life of regular people like you and me, or working people like peasants and farmers and waiters and carpenters, and I don't know. I mean, they were painting different subjects than religion. They were also painting religious paintings, but the subject matter was a lot wider. Also, rich people started to commission artists for paintings for themselves. So, artists were not just working for the church anymore, and they were selling their paintings to other people. And that probably started the foundation of the modern art market. We are almost done with our drawing, and now it's time to start coloring it and also adding some details. The rest of the video is gonna play a little fast, so if you wanna follow the colors that I'm using, just pause it whenever you want, catch up with me, and then keep watching. I hope you like this new series and this video. If you do, please like it and share it. Or better yet, talk to your friends about Renaissance yourselves. Now you know all about Renaissance, so you can explain it to your friends.
Flip,